Yeah, so my name is Gabriel McIntyre. Yeah, as they said, I used to work at Zolo TV and Mobos TV, a couple of video blogs. But I haven't really ever talked about the other work I do, which is teaching. And currently I'm head of innovation at an advertising agency in Amsterdam. Why they made me head of innovation rather than a digital creative, I think it's just because they had no idea what to do with me. Because I kind of came completely out of a different realm from classic advertising. That right there is a picture of me when I was a kid 30-something years ago, probably around the same time that I was programming my first computer games and on the internet, thanks to my dad who actually worked on connecting internet together. So I've been on the internet for a long time, and a lot of the stuff I see nowadays honestly bores me. This is what I actually have been doing for a long time. I teach design for virtual theater and games. This is one project that one of my students have done. It's kind of like collecting pixels together to create 3D animations and stuff, you know, as you move around, and you collect all these different dots, as you can see, and that all comes together. And design for virtual theater and games is new ways of looking at gaming, new ways of looking at interacting with an audience. Probably an even better example, this is a project one of my students did for his final project. He has a cupboard with different oils and spices, and here's the little grill plate that comes up. And as people speak a message into the machine, it basically puts different spices and oils depending on the message that they give. And then a hamburger comes out and begins to play music as it goes over the spices and the oils. And then the hamburger has a specific taste, which is where that message is put into in your hamburger. So, yeah, instead of tweeting messages, try doing it with spices and food. That's a new way of doing input-output. So, yeah, my students, they look a lot at what can you do to modify this whole input-output and make it more engaging. One problem in the Netherlands is people pissing all over the place where they really shouldn't. So this is a project that went to a festival. You may have seen these before. These are what we call in Dutch pispalen. And they basically connected these to speakers and music. So as you pee, different music plays. Yeah, you can actually cook together with the four of you, you know, if you get four guys going there, you know, you can actually make some cool music. And this went to a festival in the Netherlands, and it was a 3-day festival. Unfortunately, it was so popular that the thing overflowed within, you know, the first half day, because there was a line of people that wanted to go and take a piss on the thing. So, yeah, these are the kinds of projects that I like doing. So then when I went to go work at Indie, one of the reasons why I like to work there is because of their basic philosophy. They feel that everyone is creative and everything is media. All right? With this basis, what they do is usually the structure of a creative agency is that you get a brief of, like, you know, 4 or 5 pages of what the client wants. Instead of, you know, going through that and trying to figure out what the client says they want, they actually try and figure out what the client needs. And they do this by creating a hub. Now, a hub is basically the client and a couple of external experts that come in, and we all talk together about what's going on. For instance, I'll show a project later where we brought in a spiritualist and a game designer into a project or a hub. We've had people who, for instance, are owners of large suit companies that come in and talk with us for banking startups, you know, how to market to them. Editors-in-chiefs of women magazines, you know, so you can really figure out what's going on, because the experts outside the field of advertising know of a hell of a lot more about those target audiences than, to be honest, than I can Google search. And then finally, what comes out of this hub is a prototype idea, and then we start to put that out into all these different types of media. You know, everything from television, radio, you know, web, and so forth. And I just wanted to throw in a couple of quick statistics here. Yeah, so global statistics for Twitter. Apparently, over 17 million people buy brands they follow on Twitter. On Facebook, it turns out that that's moreover 100 million people buy from brands that they follow on Facebook. And finally, this is the last bit of data because I don't really like too much data. YouTube receives more uploads in an hour than Bollywood produces in an entire year. And Bollywood is the #1 feature film producer in the world. And so when clients come to me and they ask me for a viral, I kind of laugh at them. Like, really? Dude, that was like so last millennium, all right? You can't just think that you're going to come in with your 30-second spot amongst all that media and create a viral, unless you're going to spend tons and tons and tons of money on seeding, or you actually have something pretty good, which, let's be honest, most virals that are produced by agencies are not that very good. So let me jump into what Indie does. In these hubs, a lot of the times the real information about what's going on from a client comes to light. Now, Domino's Pizza in the Netherlands is one of our customers. And by default, their pizza sales would always drop in the summer. Like, every time. Anybody know why that might be? Sorry? People are barbecuing, that's right. People are basically, come on. People are basically outside, you know, on the beach or at the park, especially in Holland when it gets nice weather. And, I mean, come on. How in the world are you going to send a delivery guy to send a pizza to somebody there, you know? It's virtually impossible. So we're trying to figure out, well, what can we do? How the hell are you going to deliver a pizza to somebody in there? So instead of making people go to the door, we brought the door for Domino's to them. So this is a door that we would place in beaches and parks, and people would basically call up, and then, you know, with 30 minutes or less, the Domino's courier would come with the pizza, and he could see where the door was, and he just pressed on the door. Ding dong, and then all of a sudden, hey, there's my pizza, go get it. Yeah, awesome. So this was hugely popular. Oh, thank you. So this was hugely popular, and we used it in the Netherlands in kind of a test bed. And by default, every store that put these doors out, every franchise, their sales went up, you know, between 20-30%. So now it's been exported. They can't get enough of these doors. They're going to France, Australia, last I heard also South America, Ireland. So I don't think they have Domino's Pizza in Germany. Otherwise, maybe you'll see them here too. So yeah, these are the kinds of things that I like doing. Let me move over to another case study, Ben & Jerry's. Now, Ben & Jerry's last year, they were coming out with the whole news that they were going to be going 100% fair trade. Now, in most markets, that's great news. However, in Holland, practically everything is fair trade. I mean, you go into the grocery store, even the Albert Heijn, for instance, Albert Heijn has their own branded fair trade products. So if Ben & Jerry's comes out and says, hey, we're fair trade, everybody would kind of have this idea of, dude, weren't you already? That's not so good. So instead of promoting the idea of fair trade, together with in our hub session with some artists and some other people, we came up with the idea to create a movement of giving. And we called that the Givolution. Viva la Givolution. And the whole idea based around this idea of giving rather than taking. And everything kind of accumulated around one site, which was a Give It Forward auction site. This is one of the promos.
At Ben & Jerry's, we like giving. That's why we give away free ice cream every year. And now we want to inspire a movement, the Givolution. Why not give away your favorite album? Or teach someone to play the guitar? Give a stranger that lovely old summer dress. Yes, you. You can inspire other people and create a giving chain. Who knows what you'll get in return? You get what you give. Viva la Givolution. Join the giving chain at givolution.nl.
So this is a really cool project. You can see some of the stuff that was given up, like was an iPad. Some famous DJs actually gave away a free show at somebody's house. And it all started with 100 ice creams. And it's really cool to, unfortunately the site is down now because the campaign's over. But it was really cool to actually see. You could see it starts with an ice cream and it goes to, for instance, a pie, and then it goes to a hug, and then it goes to a massage, and then it goes to all these other things, up to PlayStations, you name it. And you could bid anything you wanted except for money. No money whatsoever. Services, goods, you know, a smile, anything. And it was really successful. But we didn't stop there. We also took every aspect of Ben & Jerry's over an entire year and created these small campaign ideas to drive people to the site. This one is called Thank You Cows, because we found research that cows are apparently happier when you call them by their name. Wow, that's cool. And Ben & Jerry's, they really like their cows, and they have a project called Caring Dairy. So we thought, okay, we'll put a whole bunch of these cows up, and people can basically make phone calls and say thank you to the cows.
Ja, deze koeien leveren melk.
Oh yeah, this is one of the farmers. It's all in Dutch anyway, so I'll just talk over it. This is one of the farmers of the Ben & Jerry's cow in the Netherlands, and he believes that it's true. You can see the speakers there, and this is where the messages came out. Geertje. She almost kicked me in the balls filming this, by the way. I didn't really like Geertje.
En ik weet zeker dat je in 2011 weer
Can you hear that?
hartstikke lekkere melk gaat geven voor
Yeah,
nog
a little
beter
higher.
ijs.
Geertje, bedankt voor je melk.
Nou, als ik blij met mijn
you
koeien
can
ben,
clap.
dan
It's
geef ik
all
een
right.
aai op de
I
bol
love
of,
claps. Go
een
ahead.
schepje brok of, dan gaan we het
So,
even naar buiten.
yeah, this was pretty popular. Actually, a lot of people liked it. Although I have to admit, those are stunt speakers. Those aren't real speakers because the cows would, you know, mess them up. So we actually had them outside. But yeah, the cows liked it. It was a lot of fun. Let me move on. This is another idea we had. Usually, when you're doing a new sampling or a new flavor, people will come out with these samplings. So, you know, it's kind of like the buy one, get one free. But to drive this whole movement of giving, we decided to make, instead of buy one, get one free, it was buy one, give one free. So we built this robot.
Viva la Givolution.
Let me turn down the audio. So we built this, oh, wrong one. We built this robot that basically, when you bought a Fairly Nuts ice cream, you could use the barcode through the website, and on the website, you would have control of this robot where people would come down an escalator, and you would try to click on their faces as they come down. It was kind of a game. And then they would see their image and have the message of free ice cream for you, right? So they get the ice cream, and then people would also see through a little webcam what the reaction was. And this traveled all over Holland in different stations, stores, malls, and so forth. And yeah, the kids, I tell you, the kids loved it, really. They kept on going back and forth just to try and get new ice creams all the time. You know? And they figured out that the barcode was pretty much the same everywhere, so that once you had one barcode, you could just type it in. We didn't care, you know, fuck it. Yeah, the kids loved it. So anyways, this was our giving robot, and this also drove a lot of people to the website and the whole idea of Ben & Jerry's. And believe it or not one Facebook or tweet that we had to put out about it. That was all done by people themselves. So what was the cumulative effort of all this? Well, we had an initial media spend of $500,000, and that came up to 4.2 million in actual buzz. Okay, so you take $500,000 and turn that to 4.2 with doing crazy things with the robots and cows. I think that's pretty cool. But more importantly, sales went up, 21% for Ben & Jerry's over the year, beyond expectations. So they were very happy. Let's see. I got 10 minutes. Oh, okay, plenty of time. I'm going to talk to you about serious games for a second. This is a project that we did last year in which basically Microsoft the Netherlands came to us. Microsoft the Netherlands came to us, and this was a brand new building that they had built at Schiphol, and it houses about 200 to 300 employees, and Microsoft has about 1,000 employees. So they were trying to promote this new way of working, which is working online collaboratively through SharePoint and all these other systems that Microsoft has developed, and it worked really good for solo work. So solo, the employees were really getting their stuff done. It was really great. However, the problem was there was no kind of third place or water cooler where people would go to kind of get new ideas and connect with each other and collaborate. So Microsoft came to us and they said, okay, these are the things we need to do. We need to increase collaboration amongst employees. We need to increase the social media skills of the employees because they got to teach our clients how to do it. And we also have to increase the awareness of Microsoft's products and technologies with employees. We got to basically train them. So that was a tall order to do. Let me just show you a quick video of what we did. You guys know Picnic? Ever heard of it?
You can't just stick two bits of DNA together anywhere. Something useful around it. What can you tell us about Project Crowley?
This is how it all began. The alternate reality game, also known as Project Crowley and the Silverline Society, which was played by Microsoft employees internally to increase connectivity and collaboration skills.
You have reached the voicemail of Secunda Thomas. I'm currently unable to answer my phone due to matters of great import. If you might be calling because you want to know more about our current Project Crowley, you're welcome to leave your name and number.
Change can be achieved by a small group of people within an organization. You could say that if a small group is enlightened, then they change the whole organization.
We invite Microsoft employees to an experiment on connectivity and collaboration, using new technologies like social media, and an ARG for us was the way to make that happen.
The game kicked off at the end of September. An email was sent to all employees by the GM's assistant and then promptly recalled. The email came from the Silverline Society, requesting the Dutch GM to select employees for an unknown classified project.
In Microsoft culture, one of the biggest holy grails is, of course, being on the bleeding edge of technology. So we decided to create a fictitious research project called Project Crowley, in which we were looking for beta testers.
Project Crowley had to find the brightest and most loyal employees to beta test, yet remain in complete secrecy.
To discover who had the right stuff, a society was created to test them, and it was called the Silverline Society.
Alternate reality game, an ARG, is a game that encourages players to interact with each other in a fictional world, using the real world as their platform.
It feels real when you're in there. The challenges are game challenges, so it's a safe environment. But what you're doing, what you're wanting, what you're striving for in the game, that is real.
Microsoft employees were continually triggered to get involved. They solved one puzzle after the other. They created photosynths. They decrypted documents. And they even reduced their own CO2 levels. Each puzzle trained the use of Microsoft's newest products and technologies. Each week required a higher level of collaboration. And each task enforced the use of social networks like Facebook and LinkedIn, eventually increasing participants' network reach by 20 to 30%. At the heart of the Silverline Society, a binary clock counts down to a date. Before that date, all puzzles must be solved, and a mysterious event will take place on the 7th of December 2010. And for all Microsoft employees, the game finally became reality. On the most popular technology blogs, stories about the game were published. As employees began to read the articles, They found what they had been searching for months, published for the world to see. What was Project Crowley? It was the players themselves.
Het gaat dus niet om een product, maar het gaat waarschijnlijk om verbinden en social media en dat soort dingen.
Maar het geheimzinnig gedaan vind ik wel fantastisch.
About 20% of our employees participated in this society. And in fact what they did is they collaborated on solving problems together, using social media. And they learned what behavior works best, what techniques work best in order to solve this. So these people internalize these learnings and they will spread that across our whole organization in the end. So I would say that this reality game now has ended, but our new reality in improving our collaboration has just begun.
So, let me just show you some of the puzzles. We had a whole bunch of puzzles that people had to collaborate and work online, and you can kind of see, you know, they all were getting together, and they were exceeding our expectations. We had puzzles in there that were made by economist professors, and we thought it would take them at least, you know, half a day or at least a day to figure out, and they were solving them within a matter of minutes, which kind of sucked for us because we weren't actually ready with the next part of the puzzle, and all of a sudden they've solved it, and now we've got to put a voicemail on a cell phone out of England. Kind of stress levels. All these puzzles were designed to get them to collaborate. So for instance, these were these puzzle boxes with, some of them had keys inside, some of them had locker numbers inside, and we placed them at different partner locations of Microsoft so that the main goal of this was just to get people talking to each other about who is actually going to these different partner locations so they can go pick these up. Just to, because, you know, a lot of people are working or at the same partner or trying to sell to the same client, but they're not even talking to each other within Microsoft about maybe forming a Unity to go sell. Other things that happen, this is a widget to reduce your CO2 levels, so they were reducing their CO2 levels. We also had lots of rewards for them. So this is, for instance, a VIP showing of Kinect in an apartment in Amsterdam for a group that came up with the greatest ideas for what to do with the Kinect technology. Those are, of course, taken in later. They may actually develop them. That would be cool. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this was one of the final puzzles. It's called The Tragedy of the Commons, and the idea was everybody who was playing had to click exactly once on this red button. And, you know, you get people like, I've removed the last names of these players for their own privacy. So Martin clicked once, but then Arjan clicked 118 times, you know, so we kind of screwed it up. But then this guy, Andre, he clicked 1,800 times. So he completely didn't read what was going on, apparently. The nice thing about this was, as far as trying to put a gag order on the press, was we told them, listen, we're going to tell you about this about a week in advance so you can prepare, but if you tell them beforehand, you've fucked up the entire game, and you might have a lot of people who are pissed off at you. So now you are in control of the game. Are you going to screw it up or not? And so that was one great way to basically use a gag order on press to make sure that they posted things at the right time, if you ever need to do that. Probably the most important bit of information is this. Has anybody seen the law of diffusion of innovation? This graph? So what you have here, this is like everybody, okay? So you have your first 2.5% of innovators. That's probably most of you right here. These are the guys with like the latest phones, you know, before they're even out, you know, the latest apps, etc. Then you have your early adopters, right? Those are the people that are friends of the innovators in that sense. And then you finally start to get into this early majority here. Now, once you get into here, into the early majority, that means that you're pretty well on your way, okay? Down here in the laggards, these are the people still with the rotary telephones, more or less. You can pretty much forget about them. So we were able to get inside the organization right about here. So we were already into the early majority, and that was our goal. We were trying to make sure that the information got into a large enough group that it was able to get enough kind of steam power going so that everybody would learn. So, yeah, these are just some things. Okay, yeah. Players increased at least 25% their personal social networks. Yeah, it was a really cool project. I was going to skip through this. It's another thing we did for Domino's because my time is up. So yeah, that's me. My name is Gabriel McIntyre. You can find me at Gabe Mac on Twitter or Indie Amsterdam at Indie_AMS. And remember, I need cash for alcohol research. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Gabe. That was a really interesting, inspiring talk. I really like those Domino's doors at the beach. Very helpful. Do you guys have any questions for Gabe? All right.
Anybody? I'll also be out smoking a cigarette. Ah, okay.
Thomas? Just wait a minute. There's a mic.
It's easier that way.
Domino's and Ben Jerry's, of course, are American companies. Microsoft is an American company too. Is it maybe that only American companies are willing to risk something innovative and European companies are way more conservative?
Well, that may be. The nice thing is that it might be a part of the culture, definitely. I mean, even though we are dealing with Dutch people who are, heads, general managers and stuff at these companies, there is definitely probably that kind of feeling of the American culture inside that does help me sell these crazy ideas of building robots that give out ice cream. But yeah, to be honest, I think it's just all in the. It really depends on the brand. It really depends on. There are some brands that are Dutch brands that are doing some cool stuff as well. But yeah, in general, you're probably right. It's probably the American companies. So I guess European companies, relax a little bit and have fun. When you have a crazy guy like me come in and say, "Dude, we're gonna do something totally wild. We're gonna have all the posters in the country talking with each other." You can kind of just say, "No way," or you can say, "Sure, give it a try." Right? So, yeah, if any of you guys have brands out here, the crazier it is, just go for it. At least you're going to be new. What's the worst that can happen? Right?
Wasn't there any negative reaction to the alternate reality game? Like, people thinking, well, I've been tricked for like 4 months,
No, even better is I guess it was about 3 weeks into it, we started receiving emails from some of the top managers telling us to leave their employees and their groups alone with this stuff. Leave us alone. I don't want any of my group doing this thing. Da, da, da. And we were kind of like, oh, shit. That's not so good. And then afterwards, it was funny because the same people were saying, you have to innovate and experiment with social media and new techniques. The moment something came by that was all about experimentation and social media and learning to collaborate and stuff, they were just kind of like squashing it like a little bug kind of thing. So afterwards, they did apologize, and they said, for us, it was also a revelation of how stupid we were, and it really kind of put this whole idea in the front of their faces as managers of what they're really supposed to be managing. So yeah, it was more from the top rather than from the bottom.
And how did that work out with the daily business? If you have kind of looked like half of the company was like trying to solve puzzles and not doing the daily work.
Well, no, the puzzles were designed so that we would have, for instance, every week there would basically be 3 puzzles. Okay. So 2 puzzles, which could be done by a small group or even individuals, they would unlock a larger puzzle. So in essence, really the game time that would be played was maybe max an hour over a week. you know. But just because of the collaboration, you know, things just started to go so quickly that these puzzles were being solved, you know, within the first days of the week. So that was great for us because we would only give out assignments on Monday. You know, that's a good point. If you do an alternate reality game, put in kind of a time schedule for the puzzles so you don't have to waste your weekends or Friday nights. You know, you can still have a life, which is important. So yeah, that's basically all about scheduling and timing, you know, the puzzles beforehand. How long will it take them to figure these out, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? All right, so, you know, lunch is almost ready, so get in line.
Thanks
Thank you
a lot,
very much
everybody.
for your attention, and we'll see you later.